Today has been an amazing day, and it is culminated to being right here with this phenomenal artist. I was surprised when my partner told me that I had the opportunity to interview her. So I want to introduce her to you, Nicci Canada.
Hello.
Hello, how are you?
I'm great.
And the reason why I'm saying that is because it is a distinct pleasure to get the opportunity to interview you, because I got the opportunity to listen to your music. And one thing I want to tell you guys is that when you listen to Nicci's music, it takes you back. It is soulful. It is a lot of jazz. It's comforting. And honestly, I listened to it from beginning to end. I didn't even stop.
Okay. Good.
And I found myself, like, I clicked it, and then all of a sudden I looked, and it was like over. And I was like, wait a minute, I went through all those tracks? And it's that type of album that you have out there. So thank you for that.
Thank you for having me.
So first question, of course, we always have to ask, how did it come to be Nicci Canada? Give us a little bit of history on you, because I know you're from West Virginia.
Yes.
Okay. And a little bit to add to it, your family was in music as well. So how did that influence you?
Well, I mean, I grew up in the church.
Okay.
I was born in the church.
Right.
Well, I wouldn't say born in the church. I think I took about 10 months old when my mother and father started taking me to church. That's what they told me. But anyway, growing up in the church, singing was just something that you had to do.
Right.
You joined the choir. That's what you had to do. So, you know, that was just something that was expected. You know, everybody sang in the choir, but I just didn't. I never. It was funny because, you know, my sister, she was the one that was very, like, the powerhouse singer. The one, you know, my father was a preacher, and everybody requested Jamaica, and you know, I was very timid. You know, scared to sing.
Not shy.
Know, when it came to singing, yeah. So I didn't think that I would be here. It was something that I kind of fell into.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I kind of fell into it. Actually, you ever heard of Guitar Center?
Yes.
Guitar Center. So I was at Guitar Center one day and just filling around on the keyboard or whatever, and I was singing. And a stranger came up to me and said, you know, you're going to miss your calling. And I was like, okay, well, what's that? He was like, you should be singing. And I was like, really? I was like, okay. So I started singing. You know, I started reaching out to producers, and I remember during that time, you know, me and my husband, we were struggling. And I remember we saved the whole $200. The whole $200 we had in our account back then. And my husband just kept nagging me. He said he wanted his keyboard. And I kept thinking, why do you want the keyboard? We only have $200 in our account. And he was like, well, I just think it'll be good, you know, for us to just do something, you know, just, so I was upset that he would want to spend our whole savings on a keyboard. So out of spite, I went and bought the keyboard. Like, you know what? This is what you wanted anyway, you know, and I went and bought it. So when he would go to work, and when he was working, he worked second shift. So when he would go to work, I would play around with it. But when he was at home, I act like I didn't want to do it.
Okay.
So, you know, I started fiddling around on the keys. The next thing you know, Preacher's Kid, Gone Bad, that song came out. Love Letter. These are the songs that I first started to write with the keyboard. And so from that just came, you know, my first demo. My husband got a second job because he believed in what I was doing at that time. So, you know, he went and got a second job to pay for my first demo. That was back in 2006, I believe.
Wow.
And just with that demo, I was just knocking at at that time, it was more inspirational, like gospel.
Okay.
So, you know, I'm knocking at every church door I could, you know, wherever I could go to sing. And it just went from there, you know, and throughout that journey, I really, you know, and then I, you know, speed up to 2011, I had my first, the project you're talking about. Yep. And it was like a smorgasbord of neo soul, gospel, jazz. It had everything, but I really, during that time, I realized that I want to be a jazz singer. So it's kind of like something I evolved into. And now I'm here. I consider myself to be a jazz soul singer, but with the foundation of gospel music.
Wow. And that's good too, because many prolific singers have that basic foundation, which is the gospel. Yeah. So with that being said, and you just mentioned how you went from R&B to neo soul, jazz, and then all of a sudden you found that jazz is your calling.
Yes.
Explain why that particular music genre just speaks to you more so than the others.
It doesn't have any rules.
Oh,
you know,
okay.
It doesn't have any rules to me. You just do whatever. When growing up in the church, you know, if I wasn't screaming my heart out and, you know, screaming so loud that people's I just felt like people would say, well, you know, you sound good, but you know, in church you got to sing to black folks. Yes. I'm just gonna be honest with you. You got to sing. Yeah. And, you know, and I felt like I just didn't have that what people were looking for. I felt inadequate singing gospel music, you know, because I didn't have that, you know. People want chills. They want, you know, and what I found in jazz is that I could be myself, and I don't have to. You know, I don't have to dance and all these other things in order to entertain. That just wasn't my style. With jazz, you know, I said, well, you know, I like beautiful dresses. I remember I had my husband introduced me to Liz Wright. And I sat and I watched her and even Sade and artists like that. And I said, you know what? They're not screaming to the top of their lungs, but yet they sound wonderful. You know, thousands and thousands of people come to see them. Why? Because they love the art. And I said, you know, this is what I want to be able to offer to people. And so jazz allowed me to do that. You know, I'm like, I'm up here and I'm singing, I'm doing what I love. Gospel music just didn't, I just didn't feel comfortable in that genre. I didn't feel comfortable in R&B. R&B, you know, I have to dance a little bit. I got 2 left feet. I said, R&B's not going to work for me.
2 left feet, okay.
So, you know, when I got to jazz, it was the elegance of it. It was the, you know, the art. It's just something that drew me. And then, you know, I started, you know, we grew up in gospel. I didn't hear about Billie Holiday till I got in my 20s. Okay. I didn't know about Nina Simone. I didn't know about Ella. I didn't know about any of these artists. We were on commission. And Mahalia Jackson. And so I didn't know anything about the other jazz artists. So once I hit my 20s and I started to listen to them, I was like, I took a liking to the art of jazz, and that was it.
Wow, amazing. You mentioned Ella Fitzgerald, and I know there was a major project that you were involved in in regards to that. So I want to talk a little bit about that, as far as how you came to be a part of that project, as well as L Train.
L Train, Latron, L Train Bradley. Well, you know what? I love Ella Fitzgerald. I'm gonna tell you, she has a. Whenever she opens her mouth, I always hear love. You know, it was just something that attracted to me. And, you know, nobody can sing like Ella. Nobody can scat like Ella. And I just said, you know, I wanted to do a tribute to her. And, you know, I had put the package together and I kept trying to shop it. And I kept being told no. That's the worst thing you can do to Nicci Canada. You tell me no. Whenever somebody tell me no, I hear yes. So, you know, I remember I had someone... a good friend put me on the L Train, Latron, and said, you know, he was doing some shows and stuff like that in the Charlotte area, whatever. So I just called him and said, hey, you know, I'm trying to do something, you know, let's talk. So we sat down, we talked, and we decided to, you know, to do the Ella show together. So within 2-3 months, we had it ready. We did it last year. We turned around and did it this year. The first time we had the 1 show, but this year we did the 2 back-to-back shows, and it was really, really good. You know. As being well, there's so much. I don't even know if we have time to talk about it all, but I'll stay on the surface. I've learned so much from the first show to the next show. You know, I'm not just a singer, I'm an entrepreneur, you know. So, you know, putting these shows together has taught me a lot. And also, of course, I never really thought that I would do a production like that. But, you know, I had a chance to stand on a stage to sing with the symphony, the Charleston Symphony Orchestra. And it was a God experience for me.
Oh, wow.
Like a major God experience. Like, I remember standing on that stage, and I remember the director, the director of the symphony, he said, you know, Nicci Canada, he said, where did you come from? I never heard of you, but there was someone who backed out of the show, and they were looking for a singer ASAP. So the time my booking agent called me and said, Nicci, what do you think about you know, and I remember thinking like, wow, this is a big opportunity. And I remember I was about to call him back. No, I did call him back, and I said, look, I don't know if I could do this. I was very intimidated. And he was like, no, you're a star. This is what you were made for. And I got on stage, and we practiced for like 15 minutes. It was showtime, an hour. And when I stood on that stage, it was almost like I had been, like I was ready for the moment. You know, there's more to the story because, you know, I had a cleaning business. Up until that point. So I was preparing myself while I was sweeping floors every day. That's how I was writing my music. This is how everything that I envisioned, where I'm at now. I was doing that while I was cleaning houses, cleaning buildings, So when I stood on that stage that day, it was like I heard the Most High say, this is what I have for you. And in that inspiration, I came back home thinking, man, this is like a Cinderella story. Because I had literally, and when I went from there, I went to sing with the Oklahoma Symphony, Tulsa, Oklahoma. So it was, both of them were like a Cinderella story. I get off the plane, I'm cleaning houses the next day. And I kept thinking, man, I got this one shoe here, but that shoe I left, and I kept thinking, why am I here? Why did I experience all of this? There's a reason why. And Dapper Street Productions, my production company, all that was birthed out of that one experience. Because I kept thinking, surely I didn't experience this for nothing.
Right.
I didn't come down here back to cleaning houses and cleaning buildings for nothing. What did I need to get out of this? So I'm thankful for that experience. I don't know how I got off this topic.
No, that's on you. Hey, keep the train going. There's a thread there. So I'm gonna let you go ahead and do it. We'll get there.
Okay. Yeah. So all of that, just the different experiences led up to where I'm at now. I did start the production company and with the Ella, and I've picked up a booking agent. So hopefully, the goal is to get Ella on the road. But I'm not one to sit and wait.
Right.
The next production is coming. That's what entrepreneurs do. We continue to move, and I'm a creator. So that's where I'm at now musically. Still singing. I do want to do my first official jazz project next year. But right now I'm just doing, a lot of private gigs and stuff like that. And here locally, did a lot of partnering with the Art and Science Council. And I'm just sitting back and watching it all unfold.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So that kind of leads to the next question, because you mentioned it, how you went from you cleaning houses and such, and cleaning offices. Then all of a sudden you're on a plane, you're going out to Tulsa, Oklahoma, you're going down to Charleston, you're singing with symphonies.
Yes.
You birthed Dapper Street. With all that being said, there is up and coming artists that are out there right now. What words could you give them right now in regards to the industry and how to basically stay humble and stay on the grind?
Well, if I may, I'm gonna backtrack just a little bit.
Okay.
Back in 1990, it's funny now because I think we're on the verge of all of these things being legal. But back in those days, I was in college. I sold weed. I got in trouble.
Okay.
I ended up with a felony. And with that felony, it ruined my life. It ruined my life. At that moment, I couldn't get a job. I had moved down here to Charlotte, got married, and everywhere I looked to get a job, I was constantly denied, and it frustrated me. They kept telling me, "I'm sorry, you got a felony. We can't hire you." And I got tired of hearing that, and it angered me. And I never forget, I was at Harris Teeter because I had applied at the produce section. This was back in 2003 because I moved to Charlotte in 2002. 2003, 2004, I remember applying at the produce section at Harris Teeter. I was desperate. And I remember I went back to check on my application. And again, like I said, every time I turn around, because at that time, it was like, well, I'm thinking to myself, well, okay, I'm going to be honest. I was always honest, and I kept getting no. And I remember going back to check on my application, and I could see it on the man's face. And I said, well, I was just trying to see if I got the job in the produce section. He said, well, your application came back. I'm sorry. I said, well, could you explain why? He said, well, you have a felony and we can't hire you. And I was so angry. And I was thinking, okay, Nicci, just chill. He's just doing his job. But I got in a car and I just started screaming. I was so angry. And I kept thinking, I know I made a mistake, but I can't find a job. And I kept thinking, well, at that time, my mother would always say, well, just hold on, baby. The Lord is whatever. And I was like, I don't want to hear all that. I need a job. And I kept thinking to myself, well, if it was meant for me to have this job, I would have had it. And I got so angry. I said, what do I have inside of me? What can I create so I'm not so frustrated? And that's when I started my cleaning business. Because I knew then, I said, well, you know what? I can't find a job. Nobody's going to hire me because I have a felony. And so that's when I started my cleaning business.
Mm-hmm.
And so the cleaning business is what allowed me to be free to create, I wasn't at work 8 hours a day. I had 2 sons at home. My husband worked second shift. So, there's a lot of, some things, I wish I could go back and do over again. But had it not been for that situation, a lot of these things would not have been birthed out of me. Because I took that, people say, I literally took lemons and made lemonade.
Okay.
And I created a job for myself, I was good at cleaning. And I kept thinking, well, I can't find nothing to do, so let me make. I'm gonna create a job. Since y'all won't hire me, I'm gonna create the job. And so, what I'll say to the people that are listening, my thing is that first of all, you never give up. Never give up. There is something. I know some people don't like to hear this, but I tell people all the time, we live in a society now where everything is overnight. Everything is just pop up. You think things are supposed to happen. My thing is that, are you still committed even if it doesn't happen for another 10 years? Wow. Are you committed if what it is that the Most High has shown you or whatever you believe in, what if it don't happen for 20 years? Are you still committed to what it is that you've seen? The reason why I'm here is because in spite of everything that I don't, like I said, I don't consider myself to be a victim. There's things that I did in my life that I paid for. But I know what I saw. I had a vision years ago that showed me everything that I'm doing now. And I held tight. I held true. I held on to that vision. That vision was what I saw, was what kept me going. I believed in what I'm doing. You cannot, if you truly believe, in order to continue, in order to be successful, you first have to believe. First, you have to see it.
Right.
Then you have to believe it. And even though things don't maybe not work out, you still don't take no for an answer. Continue. Do not quit. Now, so I quit the industry about 11 times since I've been doing this. Okay. I say I'm tired. I don't want to do it no more. In about 4 or 5 days, I'm back up and I'm doing it again. But I would tell those that are doing what it is that I'm doing, or you may not even be in the music, whatever it is that you truly want to do, in spite of the obstacles and the doors being slammed in your face. There's a lot of times doors are being slammed in your face, but they're supposed to be. We're so eager sometimes that we just want to walk through doors even though we're not supposed to walk through them. You have to be patient. And I would say you have to be patient. You have to have faith, but you still have to be diligent in what you do. This stuff requires hustle. You see what I'm saying? What I've obtained thus far is not laying in the bed watching Netflix all day. Okay. So I would say definitely get up. You have to have the faith, and that faith needs to be in motion. And again, it might not happen, or it might not happen overnight, and you have to be okay with that because it's the process. There were so many things that I wanted overnight. Now I think to myself, well, had I been given that opportunity then, I would have messed it up because I wasn't seasoned back then like I'm seasoned now. I wasn't wise back then like I am wise now. So I'm thankful for the I'm thankful for the process. I'm thankful for the journey, and all I know is that if you believe it, it will become.
Man, that was powerful. Y'all hear that? You believe it, it will come.
Yeah.
Well, with that being said, sis, how can our fans, our followers, and your fans, your followers, get in contact with Nicci?
Okay, well, you can visit my website at www.niccicanada.com. Nicci is spelled with 2 C's. So that's Nicci, Canada like the country.com. I'm on Instagram, Nicci Canada. Facebook is Nicci Canada Jazz. Okay. Yeah, those are the 3 places that you can reach me. If you want to go to my production company website, that's dapperstreetproductions.com.
Well, y'all heard it first, right here. We get to sit down and chit-chat with Nicci Canada. She told us about the process. She told us about the gift, her passion, and herself. Yes. Y'all heard it first here. Y'all stay tuned. We got more for you very soon.
Love remains, but it's so hard to find when led by the Father. Love is so divine. Trust it builds in time. Will you be